me with your questions, you may forget them. And then when the class is over, you'll think, oh, I wish I would have asked that. So please feel free to interrupt me as we go along. This is a beginner's class. As a beginner's class, we're going to assume that you already have your data entry done. So you've already got your staff in there and their schedules. You've already got your groups and services. You've already got your inventory and clients, etc. What this class is going to be focusing on is some of the basics that you do day to day. We're going to be talking about booking appointments, processing sales, and setting up commissions. That's what this class is going to be focusing on. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is the appointment book. So there are 3 different appointment books in the software, and we're going to focus on just 2 of them. There is the day view, the week view, and the month view. We're going to be talking about the day view and the week view today. The day view screen, if you go to the book button and left click, that will bring up a window that shows your staff that's working for a particular day, Thursday, April 27th, 2017. In this case, I've got it set for 10 columns. However, I've got quite a number more people working today. So if I click my little plus sign, I can see additional columns. So I can see more people, rooms, equipment, etc. Now, again, that's my day view screen, and I can scroll day through day by using these little arrows in the upper left-hand corner. By clicking this one on the right, now it's Friday, April 28th. Click it again, now it's Saturday, April 29th, etc. Let's go back to our current date. I'm going to exit out of that. If I want to get into the week view screen, there's 2 ways to do that. The first way is to right-click on that button here, book, instead of left-clicking. When I right-click, it brings up this window, which is today plus 2 weeks. And I can choose a particular staff member, and I will see just their schedule for that date range. Again, from today plus 2 weeks. Once again, by using that plus sign, I can add additional days. So I can see up to 31 days on a single column. on a single screen. Now, I can book an appointment in my week view just as easily as booking an appointment in the day view screen. So I can choose a service that Debbie performs. I don't have to choose a group this time because I'm only working with Debbie's services. So I could go with, for instance, a half-leg bikini, choose my customer, whoever they may be. Let's go with Elizabeth here, and I'm going to book that at 11 o'clock on Monday, May 1st. So as you can see, I can book a room and I can book a service through my week view screen as easily as my day view. So let's go back to my day view. So here I am on my day view screen, and I'm going to choose a customer, like Jim here, and I'm going to choose a group, like, for instance, hair. I'm left with only my hairstylists. Choose a particular service, like a blow, dry, and curl, and book the appointment at 11 o'clock today with Abigail, and the appointment is booked. So the day view screen and the week view screen can both have appointments booked to them. The week view screen is going to show you up to 31 days of a single employee, whereas the day view screen shows you all employees that are working that day. Okay? So let's go through those steps of booking an appointment. The first thing I need to do is choose a customer. And I can do that by coming up to this client button here. And I have 2 options. As you can see, when I bring my mouse there, I get a tooltip. It says click for client lookup, right-click to add a new client. So if I left-click, then I can pull somebody up that's in my database, whoever they may be. And I can either type or I can use these buttons and my select. But if I type, let's say, for instance, I wanted Miss Babcock, I can type in a portion of her name. She'll appear after I hit enter and click her, and there's Michelle Babcock ready to be booked. Then I choose my group. By choosing a group, I'm limiting only to those staff members that work within that group. So for instance, if I choose laser, only my laser techs appear along with the rooms and the equipment that I can perform laser services with. If I go to waxing, again, only my waxers and the rooms that they can perform in. Of course, hair, just my hairstylists, etc. Then I choose a service, like for instance, a blow, dry, and curl. Find the time and the operator that I'd like to book with. Notice Debbie's name is highlighted. The reason Debbie's name is highlighted is because the last time Michelle Babcock got a blow, dry, and curl, it was Debbie who provided the service. So I'm going to, at 11 o'clock, left-click to block out the time. And then once the time is blocked out, anywhere within that blue box, I can right-click to choose what type of customer this is. So if Miss Babcock asked for Debbie, that would be a request. If she doesn't care who she sees, that would be a no type. So I'm going to go ahead and say request. My appointment is booked. What if the customer is not in my database? Then I right-click on this button instead of left-clicking. I right-click, and now I can add a customer brand new. So I'm going to add a customer by the name of Susan Walsh. So I'll say Susan Walsh. I can take telephone numbers and an email on this really basic screen, or I could just put in her first and last name. That's all that's required. Or I could hit more and take a lot more information from her if I've got an opportunity to talk to her, for instance. So let's go ahead and just say we're going to go with her mobile number, and we're going to say it's 323-323-3223. And now I can say add now. Miss Walsh is here. I choose my group. We'll go with nails this time. I'll choose a service like a French manicure. I'll book that with Maureen at 12 o'clock, and the appointment is booked. So that's for somebody who's not in your database. From that point forward, they always will be in your database. Now if I left click here, I can look up Miss Walsh, and she'll be here. I've got a lot of Walshes here, but there's Susan. And there, now she's ready to be booked again. Also, I can look up at any time her client file. Same thing. Shorten it a little bit by adding an S. Susan Walsh, here is her information. I've got her cell phone number here. I can say how she was referred to me. I can choose who she prefers to see when she comes. I can put in her email address and say that she likes to get promotions via email from you or text, or she likes to get her appointments confirmed via email or text. She prefers to have her receipts emailed to her or printed, etc. So that's the type of information that you can take. And of course, all of this contact information as well. And any history that she has with you will be listed here. All services that she's ever gotten from you, all products that she's ever gotten from you. If I hit show appointments, it will show me every appointment from today forward that this customer has. If I select go to appointments, it will open up my day view screen with Miss Walsh's name already here so that I can go ahead and easily book an appointment for her. So that's booking a standard appointment. Now, there are 3 types of appointments. Ms. Walsh, do you mind if I ask, are you a salon or a spa or both?
Salon.
Okay. So then the truth of the matter is what I was about to show you really doesn't apply to you because it really applies to day spas, and we normally have it in this class, but if you're just a hair salon, then I'm not going to bother wasting your time. We can cover more things without going into day spa features for you. All right. So the next thing then we're going to talk about is rescheduling an appointment. So here I've got my Jim Fabiani for a blow dry and curl with Abigail at 11 o'clock. And Jim says, you know what, I'm so sorry, but I can't make it at 11 o'clock. I'm going to be a little bit late. Can I come in at 12? Well, if Abigail's got the time available, well, then it's easy. I can left click here on this button that says reschedule, and I can drag and drop the appointment to anywhere I'd like. I can move it to 2 o'clock. I could move it to 10 o'clock, move it to 12 o'clock, move it to 11, etc. Really easy. Also, that's very helpful in the day view screen. What if Jim called and said, I'm in the week view screen, if Jim called and said, you know what, I can't make it today, what other times does Abigail have available this week? Right-click on Abigail's name and go to her week view, and it will now take me just to Abigail's week view, check my reschedule button, and move him to 11 o'clock on May 1st, or move them to 2 o'clock on May 2nd, move them to 9 o'clock on May 4th, and then bring them right back to 11 o'clock today. So moving appointments around, very, very simple. So let's talk about unbooking an appointment. If I right-click on Jim's appointment here, I have some options. I've got unbook at the bottom here and unbook all this day. Now, these will perform the same function if there is only one appointment for Mr. Fabiani. If I say unbook, it will allow me to unbook this one appointment. If I say unbook all this day, it will also only unbook this one appointment. But if Mr. Fabiani had 2 or 3 or 4 appointments with you today, maybe he's getting like a day of beauty or something like that, then if I select unbook, it will only unbook the appointment I have right-clicked on. But if I selected unbook all this day, it will unbook every appointment he has with you that day. Unbook all this day will not affect other appointments with other customers. It will only affect the client that I have right-clicked on, okay? So let's go ahead and go through it. Jim Fabiani says, I can't make it today and I don't know when. I'm going to have to call you back to reschedule. So I'm going to select unbook. Are you sure you want to unbook this appointment? Yes. and the appointment is gone. Now, just because it doesn't exist on your screen anymore doesn't mean it doesn't exist in the software. So, for instance, if Mr. Fabiani walked through the door today for his 11 o'clock appointment and you went to check him in, well, I don't even have you booked. Well, what are you talking about? I even got a confirmation from you via email, and I confirmed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we have something called appointment inquiry. And in the appointment inquiry, I can restrict to a particular date range. So, for instance, I could say just today, for instance, and I could put in a particular client number, or I could just look for everybody. So I could say display, and every appointment will be here. And you'll notice that he is not here. Mr. Fabiani is not here. But if I say I want to see my unbooked files and display, there he is. So I've got all of these different ones. And why do I have so many? Because I was moving him around right and left. And every time I booked with a reschedule and then moved him again, et cetera, that is going to have a log on it. And if you are using password protection, it'll even show you who did it. So who booked it, who unbooked it, et cetera. So then maybe I can go to somebody and say, hey, why did you unbook Mr. Fabiani? And I say, oh my gosh, you know what? I meant to unbook James Fabian, and I unbooked Jim Fabiani. I apologize. My mistake. Or, well, because his wife called and said, he wasn't going to be able to make it today because he had to pick up the kids. And so now you've got a reason for him at least. But the fact of the matter is whether or not the appointment appears on the appointment book, you still have a record of it. Okay? All right. That is booking, unbooking, and rescheduling appointments. Now we're going to talk about standing appointments, unless you have any questions for me on what we just covered.
No, so far so good.
Okay, so let's go back to the book. And now you see we've got a button here that says standing appointments, and it brings up this standing appointments window. I'm going to cancel that. Now I go to this appointments here from the main menu and select standing appointments. There it is again. And even if I was in sales, I could select book appointments and choose standing appointments, and there's that window again. So there's different places that you can select standing appointments. So let's go ahead and go through the process of a standing appointment. And of course, what is a standing appointment? Well, it's something like he comes in every other Tuesday at 11 o'clock, or she comes in, every Wednesday at 10, or whatever it may be. So that's a standing appointment. So I'm going to go to standing appointments, and I'm going to choose my customer, whoever they may be. Let's go with Cedric here. And he prefers to see Christian. So he's requested Christian. And what service does he want to get? He would like to get a back facial. Now, he is one of those men who needs them a lot. So he is going to be coming in. I could start with today, Thursday, April 27th, or by using my plus or minus signs, I can add days. Now it's Friday the 28th. Now it's Saturday the 29th. Or remove days. Now it's back to the 28th. Now it's back to Thursday the 27th. Or I could select the calendar and choose a day, maybe in May or something like that. So once I have selected the day, so I'm going to stick with Thursday here, then I can choose what time he would like to come in. He wants to come in at 1:30 every Thursday, or maybe not every Thursday. That's just his first appointment. What is his frequency? Is it every day, which means his next appointment will be tomorrow and the day after that? Every other day, every third day, every fourth day, every week, every 2 weeks? I can go all the way down to every 8 weeks. Well, I'm going to say every 2 weeks. Then I can select his number of visits, all the way from 1 to 256. Now, because this is every 2 weeks, if I were to choose something like 256, that would be a total of 10 years worth of appointments. It's a little ridiculous. But maybe I just want to book a dozen appointments for him. So I hit 12 and I hit show. If the status says okay, that means the appointment is okay to be booked. So I could just go ahead and hit book here, and all of those appointments will now be booked. His last appointment being September 28th, 2017. But what if what you want is for him to always be 12 appointments out? So once these 12 appointments are used, you don't want to have to book him for another 12. You just always want him to be 12 appointments out. So you can check this box that says auto standing. And what that does is every time he uses one of his appointments, he shows up and pays you, then another appointment will be added to the end. So he's always 12 appointments out, 24 weeks out. Okay? So I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to say book. And his appointments have been booked. So I just booked 12 appointments instantly. Let's take a look here. And there's Cedric Gagnon, and at 1:30 with Christian, booked beautifully. Let's go forward 2 weeks. And there's Cedric Gagnon at 1:30 with Christian, and this is May 11th, 2017. Let's go forward 4 weeks. Now we're on Thursday, May 25th, and there's Cedric Gagnon again. So those appointments booked and booked successfully. And because I didn't choose the auto standing, then at the end of these 12 appointments, it'll be done. And so that's that. And I go to calendar here and select today, and it'll take me back to my current day, Thursday, April 27th, 2017. That is a standing appointment. Any questions on that before we continue?
No.
All right. Now, there's a lot more to the appointment book, but for our purposes for this beginner's class, we have talked about booking appointments, unbooking appointments, rescheduling appointments, and booking standing appointments. I also want you to see that if I were to go into a client file, like Mr. Gagnon here, I can look at show appointments, and every appointment he has from today into the future will be listed. I can select one of them and delete it or confirm it. I can select all of them and get rid of them all, or I just wanted to view them. Other things that you're not seeing in this class, when I booked an appointment for Debbie, Debbie could have received an instant email letting her know that an appointment was booked for her. Also, Ms. Babcock could have received an instant email letting her know that the appointment that she wanted booked has been booked successfully. Those types of things happen as well. Now, that's different than an appointment confirmation. For instance, Ms. Babcock might have booked this appointment for May 27th, but today she gets the email that says your appointment with Debbie at 11 a.m. on May 27th has been booked successfully, even though today is April 27th. Whereas an appointment confirmation, of course, would go out maybe the day before, maybe 2 days or 3 days before, reminding her about her appointment on the 27th and asking her to confirm her appointment. So those are the types of things that you'll learn about in the Darcy class. Okay, so moving on from the appointment book, unless there was something specific that you wanted to see in the appointment book, we're going to move on to sales now.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
All right, so then the next thing we're going to do, as I said, is move on to sales. But the first thing we're going to do with that is go to the sales screen from the appointment book. So I've got a busy appointment book, and I can right-click on Ms. Babcock, and I can select Check Out. And it will take me to my point of sale screen with Ms. Babcock's ticket already posted for me. Notice that she got an automatic discount. Why? Because she is a gold member. Now, we're not going to be talking about memberships in this class, but I just want you to understand why I didn't have to highlight this and select discounts and give her 5% off. It did it for me automatically because she happens to be a gold member, which, by the way, you can create any type of memberships and give them their own names and what they do. With her membership, she gets 5% off retail and services. She also has the ability to earn points, et cetera. As you can see, she has 2,726 points, et cetera. Now, here in this point of sale, I've got Ms. Babcock. She got a blow dry and curl for $50. I can add services to this. Maybe while she was here, she was upsold. So I select service, and I say that she also saw Leslie, and she got a, I don't know, let's go with an acrylic fills while she was here. So I've added that to the ticket. Again, she gets her discount. Now, perhaps she's buying product. So I can scan my product, or I can type in a SKU number, say who made the sale. Madison sold her the Justin All-in-One shampoo. Again, she's getting an automatic 5% discount, puts in my local tax. Perhaps she would like to also add a gratuity to this. I can click on gratuity, and I can put in a dollar amount for Debbie and accept it. Put in a dollar amount for Leslie and accept it. Or I could put in a percentage, and it will distribute it and do the math for me. So Debbie's going to get $750, Leslie's going to get $675. And then I'm on my way to payment, and I can accept payment now in the multiple methods. I've got cash, checks, and I can put in a check number, credit card. If you are processing credit cards directly through the software, it's going to look like this, and you're going to be able to stick the card into the chip reader that's provided by us. Or if you are not processing directly through the software, it's going to look like this, and you're going to be able to choose what type of card she used, and you're going to swipe the card on your separate terminal outside of the software, but you're still going to be keeping a record of it here so that your drawer records and your reports are accurate. You can also, of course, accept gift cards or gift certificates. If it's a gift certificate, type in the certificate number or scan the certificate's barcode. Or you can swipe a card as well at this point. You cannot accept a gift certificate or gift card unless that gift certificate or gift card was sold through this software. If it's sold through this software, the software is aware of it, and you're able to use it. We also have something called Series. Series allows you to sell the same service multiple times. So she has a full facial series. Well, she's not getting a full facial today, so she's not going to use this. But she has a full facial series, and she has 2 out of 5 remaining. So if she were to use one of those, she would have 1 of 5 remaining. Use another one, she will now have used it all up, and I can sell her another series. A series is the same service sold multiple times in one sale. So she can buy 5 facials, she could buy 10 let's say in a salon environment, something that gets repeated a lot, maybe a root touch-up or something like that. Then I'm going to go over here to On Account. On Account allows me to take money off of her account. So this would be for things like deposits. Maybe she has a $500 deposit on you because she's part of a wedding party. Well, if that's the case, I can reduce what she has paid me. She's already given me $500. If I reduce it by $121.80, well, then she's going to owe me $378.20 remaining on her account. I also have my little hotel here. It says room number. If you are part of a hotel or resort, you're able to enter the room number and charge directly to the room, and the spa or salon services will be placed on the folio, and she will pay for it when she checks out. I've got my traveler's check, which works precisely the same way as personal checks. The difference is in your closing report, it will separate the two. But other than that, it works the same way. Put in my check number and accept payment. I also, I'm so sorry, say again?
Oh, no, it's a background person.
Okay, sure, no problem. I also have Other. Other allows you to create your own methods of payment. I don't know, you can create anything here. Groupon, Spa Finder, or perhaps even something like Barter, which is what I've done. Barter allows you to do something like trade. So your electrician did some of your wiring, and you give his wife some free services, and so here in your reference you might put electrician's wife, so that your staff member is still going to get their commission. You still have a record that you saw Michelle Babcock on this day. You still show exactly what services she got and how it was paid. In this case, it was paid through Barter for the electrician's wife. And then finally, of course, I have my points program so that she can actually pay with points if she has enough for them. She has 2,726 points. She would need a total of 2,164 points to get all of this for free. So she has enough points to do it, so she would be able to. If she didn't have enough points, then the system works in 2 different ways. It will either tell you, hey, she doesn't have enough points for this, so she can't use her points. That's one way you can set it up. Another way would be like cash value, where you allow her to use her points even though she doesn't have enough for it, and it will reduce it by that percentage so that she will only owe you a lesser amount of money. So let's go ahead and do it. We're going to go to payment here, and we're going to say that she's going to pay with cash, and she gives me $140, and accept. It makes my change, $18.20. If this was blue, a receipt would either be emailed to her or printed out based on what her preference was in her client file. If it's gray, it's not going to generate a receipt, and accept. Change is due. My drawer pops if you've got an electronic cash drawer connected to your computer. And okay, ask client if they'd like to book their next appointment. In this case, I'm going to say no. I'm done. By doing that, if I were to go into her client file, whoops, let's put in Miss Babcock here, I can take a look at her history, and I can see that on April 27th, she got an acrylic fills with Debbie and, an acrylic fills with Leslie and a blow dry and curl with Debbie. I can also highlight any part of that transaction, doesn't matter which, and view that transaction and see everything that happened on it. All of the points that she earned, all of the services that she got, the products, etc., and how it was paid. In this case, cash $140, $18.20. The next time Miss Babcock comes in, you'll notice that she now has 3,043 points because she earned additional points when she went through that process of paying with cash because she happens to be a gold member. Clear that. Okay. So that is creating a ticket right from your point of sale. Right from your appointment book. However, I could also have clicked on my sales button, and that will bring up an empty sales register. And now, if somebody had an appointment with me, instead of going from the appointment book, I can use my drop down here, and everybody that has an appointment will be listed. Notice Miss Babcock is not listed here. The reason she's not listed is because I've already processed her out. So I can check any one of these names, and it will fill in the ticket for me. Let me clear that. What if they don't have an appointment? Well, then I can choose my clients button and choose somebody like Diana here, and then create a ticket for her. Click on services, say she saw Christian, and she got a Brazilian blowout. She owes me $365. I can keep going. I can add retail like I showed you before, add a gratuity, et cetera, et cetera. Clear that. What if they're not in my database and they don't have an appointment for me and they just walked in? Well, I could click on new perhaps and add somebody brand new like I added Miss Walsh. And once I add somebody new, their name will be here and I can fill in their ticket just like I did before. What if I don't care about their information? Maybe it's a minor who comes in and just buys a bottle of shampoo or something. I can click on one time or walk in. It might say walk in on yours. If I click on one time, it'll say one time right here. And once again, I can create a ticket. But this time, it does not reference any particular client. Debbie will still get credit for it. It'll still be in her history, but it will no longer be attached to a particular client's history because you don't care who that client is. So you can use any one of those three to generate a blank ticket that you can then create on the fly. Now, again, there's a lot to the point of sale that we have not discussed. We didn't talk about selling gift certificates or gift cards or selling memberships. I didn't show you how to sell a series. I did not go through the process of selling retail other than putting in a SKU number or scanning it. We're not going to talk about transaction notes, et cetera, or even duplicate receipts. So there's a lot more to it, but now we're about to move over to commissions. But before we do that, do you have any questions on the point of sale, or was there something you were hoping I was going to show you in the point of sale that I didn't, that you'd like to see before we move over to commissions?
No, I'm with you so far.
All right. So moving on. Well, by the way, I want to interrupt us really quick just to tell you that I'm recording this class, and when this is over, I'm going to be uploading this class with a link. If you are interested, you do not have to, but if you are interested in getting a copy of this class emailed to you, the very class that you attended, then you just need to let me know at the end of the class that you would in fact like it. I'll get your email address, and in probably about an hour or so, you will receive a link to this very class with your questions, your voice, my voice, etc. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So the next thing we're going to do then is talk about commissions. So we need to go here to payroll to set up our commissions. Now, there are three different types of commission structures in the software. There are sliding scale commissions, standard percentage commissions, and dollar amount commissions. And there are three very different types of commission. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about setting up sliding scale commissions. And we do that by selecting employees. And the first thing I need to do is add my employees if I haven't already. So I can select Add New, and I can fill in my employee information. Now, I've already filled in 9 employees, which is why my next employee is going to be number 10. Once I've done that, I can go to my commission schedules, sliding commissions, and select Add or Modify Tables. Now I can choose an employee, like, for instance, Abigail. These are my sliding scales. So I can say from $1,000 to $100,000, she's getting 50%. Now, that's a little silly, of course, but why don't we say this? From $0 to $500, I'm going to give her 35%. Then I say from $500 and a penny to $1,000, I'm going to give her 40%. Again, from 1,000 and a penny to $1,500, I'm going to give her 45%, etc. So I can keep doing that for 6 different scales on services. Then I can come down here and do the very same thing for product if I choose to. Don't have to, but you certainly can. This is sliding scale. And we'll save that. Then I can come over here to employees again. And instead of going to my commission schedules, I'm going to my commission rates. And I can go to my service rates. I could choose someone like Abigail again. Now I can just do it blanketly, really simply. I can choose say all services and then put in my rate, like 50%. So I'm saying she gets 50% on every service she does. Now that's different than my sliding scale. From the very first one, she's going to get 50%. Now, I could also, though, instead of doing it that way, I could go with individual services. When she does an acrylic tips, she gets 50% and accept. However, when she does an anti-curl and blow dry, she only gets 45% and accept. So I can do it by individual services, or I can do it blanketly. To save you some time, what if she gets 45% on just about everything, but there's only a couple of services that are different? Well, then what I would perhaps want to do is say all services, 45%, and now she gets 45% on every service, and then I could choose the few individual ones that she gets a different percentage on, instead of having to go through every service and putting in whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So that is setting up standard percentage rates. Next, I'm going to go to employees, go back to my commission rates, and this time I'm going to select dollar amounts. Dollar amounts is a little bit different. This does not work on a percentage. So I choose Abigail, and this time I say when she does a back facial costs $65, and I'm going to give her $32 for providing that service. So it's a dollar amount. If I raised my prices to $75, if this was a percentage, then she would have just gotten a raise. But if it's a dollar amount like I'm doing, if I raised my price to $75, she still gets $32 until I change it. Choose a different service. She gets the service price is $50, and I tell her, I'm going to give you $25 every time you do a blow, dry, and curl. She's good with that. Great. But if I raise my price, she's still getting $25 because it's a dollar amount rather than a percentage. Okay?
Yep.
I can also, let's go back to my commission rates, go to my retail rates. And I could choose a particular person, like Abigail, and I can say for every category of product, she gets 12%. Or I could choose a specific category, like eye care, and say this one, she's getting 15% on just that category. But on everything else, whoops, stay with Abigail, on everything else, she still is getting her 12% based on categories now. Okay?
Yep.
So that's setting up 3 different types of commissions for your staff. Once you have set up their commissions, you're able to go to reports at any time, go to sales, operator reports, yours might say stylist reports or something like that, esthetician reports. Now I go to my commission reports, and I've got lots of different commission reports. And based on what you have set up for her, that's what's going to tell you, that's where you're going to get your information for these reports. For instance, if it's a standard rate commission, commission sales analysis, combined commission report, net commission on services, on service sales, et cetera, all of those work with your standard percentages. However, if you set her up for sliding scale, well, I've got my sliding scale with no back bar, my sliding scale with back bar, my daily sliding scale, my high scale and high scale with and without back bar, et cetera. What's the difference between high scale and sliding scale? Well, with sliding scale, remember, she's going to get a certain percentage on her first, $250, and then another percentage on her next $500, and another percentage on her next $500, et cetera. But with high scale, she gets the highest percentage based on whatever number she hits for everything. Sliding scale, it'll be staggered. High scale, she gets her highest percentage based on what number she hit, okay? So that's how that is a little bit different there. And as you can see, you can do different reports with and without back bar, with back bar or without back bar, et cetera. So what is back bar? Back bar is you saying, I am going to charge my staff member a particular dollar amount or percentage before I give them their commission. So let's go back to payroll here and go to my commission rates and go to my back bar charges. So I could go to Abigail here and say, you know what, Abigail, whenever you do an acrylic tips full, it costs the company $2. So I'm going to charge you $2 to make up what we lost when you did that service before I give you your commission. Or I could do a percentage instead. I could do a dollar amount or a percentage, and that is where I'm going to get my back bar charges from. Okay? Any questions on commission before we continue?
No.
Okay. Well, you haven't had any questions really. So we book an hour for this class, and we've only used up 46 minutes. May I ask, do you have any questions at all on something in the software that you were hoping perhaps I would cover that I haven't? Other than that, the class is over.
Okay. No, as of right now, you've covered everything. I'm the stylist here, and I'm learning the system just recently.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with it. So it's kind of just helping me.
A refresher course?
Yeah.
Sure. Understood. Would you like me to email you this class?
Yes, you could.
Okay. Let me get your email address, please.
Okay. It's Susan, ELTY WALSH at iCloud.com.
Okay, let me just repeat that to you. I have SUSAN, E like Echo, L like Lima, T like Tango, Y like Yankee, Walsh at iCloud.com.
That's it.
I will email you that as soon as it has been compiled, which is probably going to be in about an hour.
All right. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for attending our class. One of the things that I always like to tell people when they attend my classes is the people who are most familiar with the software end up being the people that are happiest with it. So I really do appreciate that you took the time to spend with me today. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.